Welcome to MTG Friends. I'm Ryan,
I'm Josh.
and today we're going to talk about the Infect Mechanic, and Infect for that matter. So why don't we get started? Josh pointed out that there was a card back in the day. What year was that?
1994.
Holy moly.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. I was in post-high school. What were you doing?
I was 8.
8 years old.
So just nothing. Eating peanut butter and jelly. That's what I was doing.
I was trying to get through college. All right. And what it...
You are old.
I am. All right, what was that card?
That was the Serpent Generator, though. That came out in Legends. That is not technically an Infect card, but it's the first time that we see poison counters.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll generate a 1/1 Serpent that, when deals damage, you give the opponent a poison counter. And it was the first time we saw the 10 poison counters, you lose mechanic.
Cool. Well, that kind of segues right into what is Infect. Now, you have created a commander deck which has stomped all over pretty much every deck I have. So you got to be careful when you're running Infect, especially with friends. You have to tell them ahead of time. Yes, it does kind of make the surprise go away, but it stings a little less if you agree to it. So what is the Infect mechanic?
Infect, essentially, creatures with Infect deal damage as poison counters instead of actual damage, and to creatures it deals -1/-1 counters.
And it's my understanding that the -1/-1 counters is just straight up damage when it deals it to planeswalkers. That's something to note, especially if you're playing with people who don't understand the Infect mechanic. Also, it's worth noting, which makes this a particular nasty thing when playing Commander, is even though you start with 40 life, only takes 10 poison counters.
It's kind of like every time I play you with that deck, I feel like I'm cheating. Cause, you know.
Yes, especially if I'm playing a life gain deck, which is completely moot against Infect. Now, we want to go over when the sets were. The first one, besides the one that came out in 1994, the Serpent Generator, the first set it came out in was Scars of Mirrodin. Now, you were collecting cards by that point, weren't you?
I was. That was actually kind of years after I started. I was playing competitively quite often, and Infect was just all over all the gameplay. If you weren't running Infect, it's just you didn't have a chance, really.
All right, so yeah. Scars of Mirrodin, and then right after that, and that was in 2010. Right after that was Mirrodin Besieged, and that's when the big Mamma Jamma Blightsteel Colossus came out, right?
Yeah, Blightsteel. It's fun, but it's really hard to play.
Yeah, you got to tease that out.
At that time, we didn't have commanders, so trying to fit that somewhere in a 60-card deck that should be moving fast really just felt out of place.
Were people ever reanimating that out of their graveyard?
I don't know. Probably.
Probably. Although I think Delve came after that, so but that's a different episode. All right, and then there was New Phyrexia. So those were the three, and it hasn't come out since. There have been reprints, definitely reprints, especially Blightsteel Colossus, Ink Moth Nexus. We wanted to go over what we feel are the top 10 most Mamma Jamma.
Those are our favorite. Our top 10 favorite cards. I think is what you mean. This is not a list we've got from anywhere. This is our personal favorite cards based on, my Infect Commander deck. We also have a Infect Pauper deck, which is a lot of fun. Again, feels like cheating.
Yeah, and his Infect decks we will put links to. It's not something you necessarily go to a pro tour or anything, but it'll definitely not make friends at your local game store. So be careful who you play with, or know who you're playing with, and just be upfront about it, like you should with any commander deck. Obviously, this isn't in standard. I don't know. Are these in modern decks? They are, right?
I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. Probably not Pioneer though, because Pioneer goes back to. I'll have to look that up. I'll put that in the comments below. All right, so top 10. Skithiryx, of course, is my personal favorite.
you have to mention it because it will change the game, especially in Commander. I mean, I ran it competitively when it was a standard card, but with the abundance of mana that's in Commander, you just throw him out. He has haste. He's flying. It's hard to stop.
Right. 3 colorless, black. It's a 4/4. You add 1 more black, and it's got haste, right?
Yep. And for 2 more, you can regenerate it if they do block it with something.
And with flying, it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
So I have lost to that card multiple times.
Yeah. Also, side note, if you're playing an Infect deck in a big group where, there's 3 to 4 people or more, you immediately get the target on your back.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. Don't play it in groups. One-on-one is where it shines, really, because they can't band together and just say, oh, we don't like your deck, we're not going to play with you.
Right, especially some of these other cards in this list. Which brings us to number 2, which we've already mentioned, which is Blightsteel Colossus. It's an 11/11. You're not getting that thing out anytime soon unless you reanimate it out of the graveyard or you tease it out in some alternate fashion. I mean, what can you say? It's got trample. It's 11/11. It's indestructible. I mean, yes, it can get exiled, but barring that, yeah, it's a big game changer.
Yeah, and being the 11/11, it's a one-shot kill.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you make a connection with that, and you've won the game.
Yeah, you get that out with haste. Oh, that's game over. Yeah. Then, of course, one of the best ones in Infect is Inkmoth Nexus. You have a few of those, don't you?
I have plenty of those. Yes, they're a great utility when you're kind of just stuck behind a wall and you just need to just poke somebody just a little bit with it to get some Infect on there so that you can either proliferate it or, well, just proliferate it. Yeah.
Especially with all the iterations of Wraths out there, especially in Commander. Again, we're not talking specifically about Commander because you're talking Modern, you're talking Pauper. There's all sorts of times you could play Infect, whether you're doing it competitively or in Commander. But once again, and this isn't going to be the last time we say it, don't play an Infect deck if you're trying to make friends. Make sure they're already your friends. Yeah. All right, that brings us to Corrupted Conscience, 3 mana, well, actually 5 mana, 3 colorless, blue. Yeah. What does this bad boy do?
That enchants a creature. It's an aura, and the creature becomes yours. You gain control, and it also gains Infect. Now, it's great. Again, in Commander, like when I steal his Commander, that is a 10/10. Just buff the crap out of it, and now it's mine.
Yeah, that's a good game at that point. Yeah. It's a very amazing card with this kind of mechanic. It is a nasty card. It's a dirty card. I have a love-hate relationship with these kinds of cards. So, anyways, on to the next one. Glistener Elf, which is, I'm going to say, the VIP of all things Infect. What do you think?
It's 1 mana, 1/1, first turn. It gets some creatures on the board because Infect creatures typically run a slight bit more expensive because of the Infect. This one falls outside of that kind of regular format.
Right, and you get that out there and you swing with it. Once you start integrating this with Proliferation, which we will talk about on a different video, but with Proliferation, once you get a poison counter on there, if you proliferate once, they end up with 2, right? Yeah. Okay.
So far, so good.
Yep.
If you get that early poison counter on there, you don't even have to hit them again to win the game. You just sit back and guard yourself and just keep proliferating.
Mm-hmm. So Glistener Elf, it's great. It's a great card. It's a 1/1, 1-drop, correct?
Yep. 1 green.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then we have Hand of the Praetors. This is a nasty card. 3 colorless with 1 black, so 4. It's a 3/2, and what does this bad boy do?
It essentially gives all creatures with Infect on your side of the board +1/+1.
Mm-hmm.
Just
disgusting.
Blanket. Just throw. Yeah.
That thing still holds up. That is a great card. Great to have in your arsenal.
And later in the game, if you have that, it kind of helps overcome the extra mana that Infect costs because you get that extra 1/1 for the price you've paid.
So with Infect, I mean, would you say, since you play Infect way more than I do, would you say that the main goal here is to hit them fast, hit them hard, and just the game's over before it really gets started?
Yeah. I mean, before anybody could build any momentum, you've hit them, 10 times or 3 times if you have the right combo of cards,
So it's all
in the Pauper deck. It's basically the goal is you get these super cheap fast creatures out that are unblockable, and then you use things like mutagenic growth to spend your life on buffing it, or put Rancor on it. And that's just a perpetual card. When it dies, it comes back, and you have it in your hand again. The Pauper deck's actually more fun than the Commander deck to play.
I'm sure it is. Although your Commander deck, what's the Commander that proliferates?
Traxa.
Oh yeah, that thing's disgusting.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and the Traxa. If you get a Traxa out, you're proliferating every turn.
Oh yeah,
without doing anything.
He better kill you off quick before that happens. All right, the next one is Phyrexian Crusader. Now this is also a really great card. It's 1 colorless, black, so 3, and it's a 2/2. But what's incredibly insidious? Whew. Man. Okay. Is that it has protection from red and white. So, you're probably statistically going to be playing against those colors.
Yep. And it, it'll survive a lot of board wipes that way too.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. Not much else to say about that card.
Yeah. No, okay. It's just a pain in the butt for everyone else.
Yes.
Essentially.
All right, Putrefax.
Yeah. Haste, trample, 5/3, costs 5 mana, 3 and 2 green, and it dies at the end of the turn. So it's a surprise for a lot of people when you play that.
Yeah, and when that comes out, they usually have poison counters already. So it's most likely OTK.
For 5 mana, you can win half of the game if you make that connect, or you can wipe one of their really annoying creatures off the board because they don't want 5 poison counters.
Right. Yeah, and keep in mind that those poison counters, if they hit a creature, that is in the form of -1/-1. So you're going to be taking out something.
Yeah, well, and if you don't take it out, I mean, let's say it's a 6/6, now it's a 1/1. So it's less of a hassle to get rid of it at that point.
Mm-hmm. Which leads us to the last one, Necropede. 2 colors mana. It's a 1/1 with an extra bonus that Josh really loves when he plays it.
Yes. So Necropede, even though it's a 1/1, it actually has this little mechanic that when it dies, you can place another -1/-1 counter onto any creature. So if you get it out, it's turn 2, turn 3, they're attacking with a 2/2. You can block with it. It deals -1/-1 as damage, and then when it dies, you place another -1/-1 on and kill off their 2/2 that they got out early.
Yeah, and when you're dropping that on turn 2 and hitting in turn 3, you're most likely going to be taking out whatever they've played, if they played anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if they don't, then you get that early poison counter on them, and then you just start proliferating.
Yeah, so the Infect Mechanic is on 57 cards, plus the 1, which is that one that came out in 94.
Yep. Serpent Generator.
Yep. And the 1 card that is tooled against Infect decks, which you're most likely never going to see, is Malera Silvok Outcast. And basically what this does is it doesn't allow poison counters. It doesn't remove poison counters, but it doesn't allow for the poison counters to be created. And the last part of this text, as you can see, is it does not allow, I can't remember.
Creatures cannot have Infect.
There you go.
Yep. It negates all the effects of Infect.
Indeed.
Yep.
So that's basically the Infect Mechanic. And look next up for some of our other views. Again, this is Magic the Gathering MTG Friends. I'm Ryan.
I'm Josh.
And thanks for watching.